Well, next up this morning, we're delighted to welcome along Richard Fahey. He will saddle his first ever runner here in Saudi Arabia on Saturday with Spirit Dancer in the Howdon Neum Turf Cup. It's a new experience for you, Richard, being here in Saudi Arabia. How's the trip gone so far?
Yeah, fantastic. Been well looked after, and horse is happy. I suppose when we come on these trips, it doesn't matter what I think, it's how the horse is, and the horse is in great order, so we're very happy.
And he seemed to, the back end of last year, take to international travel and racing out in the Middle East very well.
Yeah, he was a very late maturing horse. He hasn't raced an awful lot. We always felt he was a sort of a decent horse, and just luckily there he had a good season in England there, went through the ranks, and we always had the Bahrain race in mind. And you know, us trainers, we dream a lot, and we were thinking of these races and Dubai and everywhere, and sort of didn't over race him, and everything's sort of going to the way we want.
And you talk about him not being overly raced as a 7-year-old. You look on the form book, I think 7 is quite old, but he's not had a lot of experience, and last year was probably his best ever as a 6-year-old.
Yeah, he as a young horse, he just had a few little niggly problems. He's quite a big raw type of horse. I believe in Dubai they call him the super cob. So he's a big plain horse that just took time, and he's matured well. And look, he's where we felt he could be at some stage. And as you say, 7 seems old, but he's definitely at his best now.
And we saw him through last year progressing. York seemed to be his playground, but I thought he took his form to a new level with what he did in Bahrain.
Yeah, we felt that was there in him. I just felt Bahrain was always in my mind last year, and when he won the Strensel, I didn't realise that was a win in your in race. So it was easy going, and that was always the plan. Bahrain. I'd mentioned it to Sir Alex after he won at Windsor. Look, there's a good race in Bahrain there that double the prize money. I think we should go, you know. So of course he was up for that, and luckily it all went well.
And how's the horse been since then? You've had him out in Dubai since. He ran 4th in the Jebel Hatta last time.
Yeah, we were quite keen in my mind. I wanted to leave him in the Middle East, but there's just a few complications. When I say complications, you go over 90 days, you're a permanent import. Okay. So it was easier to take him home and then bring him back. We sort of backed off him a little bit. He came back from Bahrain quite light, and there was a race at Southwell or a race in Dubai, so I decided to go to Dubai as a prep run for here, really.
And you feel that's given him a better chance coming into the Neon Turf, having been out in the Middle East and conditioned himself to the environment? Yeah,
we always feel, look, every trainer's different. I always feel you either run off the plane or you go out weeks in advance. So we had the opportunity to run off the plane. I just felt he would need the run that day, and it looked that way as well. And of course he's had 4 or 5 weeks to acclimatise, so it's all stuff of dreams, but it's becoming a reality. Hopefully we get to run on Saturday.
And you've had a chance yourself to look around the racetrack here over the last couple of days. What have you made of the facilities and the track, and how suitable that's going to be for him?
You always find with the better horses, we don't make excuses for them. It doesn't matter what the track is or the ground. He'll cope with everything. He's run round Chester. He's run well around Chester. I mean, looking at the track with the big dirt track, it does look quite tight, but I just walked a little bit of it this morning there. I'd say it'll ride really well, so I'm not using any excuses at the moment.
And you've had a Sheenor attached to your stable for the last couple of seasons now. He seems like a very cool head as well, especially for these big occasions.
Yeah, Oisin's horizontal. He doesn't worry about anything. It suits me. We don't talk a lot. He knows what needs to be done, and he gets on very well with this horse. So no, I'm looking forward to it.
And you touched on Sir Alex Ferguson being a part owner of this horse, along with Jed Mason, and there's 3 lads involved there that really seem to enjoy the journey they've been on.
Yeah, I was a little bit surprised. Well, not surprised, the wrong thing to say. Well, I was surprised how much enjoyment they got out of the horse winning in Bahrain. I mean, Jed was very animated after the win, and I think Sir Alex was shocked. But since then, they've been to the yard. They took all the staff out and had a party, and it's given them a huge amount of pleasure. I think as a trainer, we don't really respect the pleasure horses give to people, but for Sir Alex to be animated and excited, and all the team to be, it was a great win.
And I didn't realise until just recently as well, this was a homebred for Sir Alex, well, by Frankel, but from a mare that he's got down in near Hemel Hempstead.
Yeah, I believe he got the covering fee for 80,000. He's quite proud of that. I told him he should go back there, but being a Scotsman, he's not thinking of giving 350 for the covering now. But I believe the cover was at 80,000.
And they seem to be really taking the journey here in their stride as well and enjoying the experience.
Yeah, well, that's, again, as trainers, we don't respect. This is a trip for them as well. It's a trip of a lifetime. When I say a lifetime, it's the opportunity to do something different without being disrespectful. If we weren't having a runner here today, we wouldn't be here. So it gives us the opportunity to travel the world and see how everything else works.
And it's a strong field. We've got Japanese runners in there. You're coming up again in grade. Luxembourg sets a pretty high standard coming across for Aidan O'Brien. Yeah,
and ran a good solid race in Hong Kong. Look, he's got to be a big danger if he turns up in that sort of form. But at the moment, I wouldn't swap my fella. I'm very pleased with him, and he's been training well in Dubai, and he did a really nice piece of work there last week. So no excuses. Everything's gone according to plan. We just need a bit of luck from here and see what happens.
And we've got a big date to get out of the way on Saturday, but have you allowed yourself to think of a programme for him back in Europe this summer?
To be honest, no. Hopefully we can go back to Dubai. I've always in the back of my mind wanted to step him up to 1.5 miles. So we're going to try and get him in the 1.5 miles in World Cup night in Dubai.
The Shiva Classic.
Yeah, and we'll give him a little holiday after that, and depending on how he runs, we'll see what happens. But no, I haven't even thought about that. The plan was to come to the Middle East, and he'll have earned a deserved holiday after that.
But his rating over the last couple of seasons from the low 80s up to the mid 115s or so now, you're getting on the cusp of that very top echelon.
Yeah, it means that we can get invited to all these big races, which is a start. If you get the opportunity to race them, you have a chance of winning them. So I think he's 118 or 119. I'm not sure. He's 119 in England and 118 here. So it gives us the opportunity to pick and choose where we want to go. And with the prize money so big in the Middle East, and his liking to travelling, it'll be on my mind to come back again next year.
Okay, let's open to the floor for any questions for Richard, if there's anything coming through online. Tom's got a question?
Richard, obviously you've got plenty of high-profile owners in your yard, but what's it like to have someone like Sir Alex, someone of his stature, kind of attached?
To be fair, when I first started training for him, I was a little bit humbled, as you could imagine. But I have some fantastic conversations with him. He's been to the yard 3 or 4 times now, and he is a wonderful man. You can see why he's been a success. But some of the conversations couldn't be repeated, but they are wonderful. You know, it just makes me laugh. And things that you want to ask him about things that happened, he'll give you an honest answer. And I think he knows I won't tell anyone what the answers were. But look, it's a humbling experience. But it's amazing. Even this morning there, we were discussing footballers and horses, and Sir Alex was sort of saying about the track. You know, why we can't run the grass, and I sort of let him through. I said, look, we actually race on surfaces there. If we had to train, we wouldn't have many horses left, so we tend to use the artificial surfaces. And he compared it to a very good football team, funny enough, that their training track was quite quick and a lot of the players were getting hurt. And so there is comparisons with football and racing. But I've had some fantastic conversations with him, and enjoy every time he rings. He's the only one that rings me with a withheld number, and as a trainer, they're not good numbers to reply to. So I let them ring through and ring him back and say, Sir Alex, have you rung? And 9 times out of 10 it is him. So I do enjoy training for him.
And given you're both managing squads in a way, have you managed to learn much from him that you could apply to your own operation?
Yes, but a little bit different. The only difference is man management. We can't talk to the horse. We can. I'm sure Sir Alex has given a few dust and downs in his time, and we can't do that to the horses, you know. But you can compare the two, yes, definitely.
Yeah. Michael.
You've been very loyal to Oshinor, and just wanted to hear a little bit about how he matches this horse and how integral he's been to the development of how good this horse has become.
I don't know how to answer this really. I mean, I'm a big believer a good jockey will get on with any horse, you know, but his win to run ratio is very high on this horse, so you could argue there that it's been Oisín's definitely helped. He's a quiet rider, as you know, Oisín, and that probably suits this horse. But I think I'm trying to don't want to be rude about poor Oisín, but I think he'd have progressed with anybody, you know. And I always feel a good jockey, you know, you don't worry about him. But I'm delighted to have him on anyway. That's not being disrespectful to Oisín. Good
stuff. Well, Richard, best of luck. It's wonderful to see you. It'd be good to see the whole team here as well. We wish you the best on Saturday and hope for a good outcome for you.
Yeah, fingers crossed we just get a bit of a run at it anyway.
Good man.
Thank you.